Hey guys, Tech Made Easy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video today. Well, this is a good one. So here they are, the EcoFlow Deltas. And to the far left, you've got the EcoFlow Delta Mini. Right next to it, you have the original Delta. I call it the OD. This is the first one that came out in 2019. And next to that, you've got the Delta Max. And of course, all the way to the far right, you've got the Delta Pro. Hey, in today's review, I will not be doing any testing, so just be aware. What I'm going to do is I am going to cover a lot of good detail to help you understand how these power stations differ. I'm going to cover cost, I'm going to be covering battery type and life cycles. I'm going to cover power capability, but I'm also going to be covering battery capacity, plus which of these units are expandable. I'm going to be covering solar, recharging. I'm going to also go over use examples to help you understand, how these can help you in your scenario. I'm going to be covering options available, the EcoFlow app, and more. So let's get started. Hi, it's Al from Tech Made Easy with a real quick message. I just want to let you know the video you're about to watch is not sponsored. We went out and bought the products ourselves. So, if you like our video, please give us a thumbs up. It definitely helps. Share our video. And lastly, we hope you subscribe to our channel and become a part of the family. Thank you. So here's an outline, just so you'll know what we're going to be covering today, okay? If you want, hit pause so you can check it out. But we're going to move forward and get started. Let's take some time and go over pricing. So the Delta Mini is a pretty new model. MSRP is a $999, and it sells probably more around $850 a lot of times, so it's a nice model. This one right here is the original Delta, came out in 2019. It comes in two flavors, the Delta 1000 and the Delta 1300, which is obviously a larger capacity. The 1300 goes for $1,399, but a lot of times is on sale. The Delta 1000 goes for $1,099, and again, a lot of times on sale. Next to this is the Delta Max. Now, the Delta Max comes in two flavors, the Delta 1600 and the Delta 2000. This is the Delta 2000 here, which is a higher capacity. The 2000 goes for $2,099. Sometimes it's on sale. The 1600 goes for $1,799. And lastly, the Delta Pro sells for $3,599, and you don't normally catch it on sale, so just be aware. So now let's take some time and talk about battery type and life cycles. And in this case, I'm going to bring up a slide to help you with a visual aid. So as we look at the slide that's up here, you see that it starts with the Mini and ends with the Delta Pro. Now, the battery type for the Mini, the Delta, and the Delta Max is NCM. So that's a lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese, if I could actually pronounce that last part right. So lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese. So that's a type of battery. Now the Delta Pro is one of the first EcoFlow batteries, power stations, to actually have lithium iron phosphate. And if you look at the next row below on cycles, you will see that the Mini, the Delta, and the Delta Max all have pretty much the same life cycles. So it's 800 to 80%, and then the battery still goes. Don't you know what I mean? You still have 80% capacity left on your battery. But if you look at the Delta Pro, you've got 6,500 cycles, and then it goes to 50%. So is that something or what? And an explanation of cycles, just so you'll know, is when you fully charge the power station and then fully deplete it, that counts as a cycle. I hope that helped. All right, let's cover the nitty-gritty. Now, what do I mean nitty-gritty? Well, we're talking power capability, right? What can these machines power? not for how long, because that's battery capacity, right? The size of the battery, and also if you can add expandable batteries, additional batteries. So let's talk about power capability. The Mini has a 1400 watt inverter. So it's made for 1400 watt appliances. And it can actually surge up to 2100 watts for a short period of time. The Delta 1300 has an 1800 watt inverter, and it can surge up to 3300 watts. The Delta Max has a 2400 watt inverter, and it can surge up to 5000 watts. And lastly, the Delta Pro has a 3600 watt inverter, and it can surge to 7200 watts. I mean, that is amazing. Now, let me tell you about an invention that EcoFlow is known for. This is called X-Boost. Now, let me explain something before I explain the numbers. So X-Boost is really not compatible with devices that have strict voltage requirements like precise instruments, because X-Boost will lower the voltage in order to run the device. So just be aware. Now, the Mini does have X-Boost, and although it has a 1400 watt inverter, it can actually run appliances up to 1800 watts for a short period of time when X-Boost is on. The Delta 1300 and the Delta 1000 do not have X-Boost. The Delta Max actually does. So again, the inverter on the Delta Max 2000 is 2400 watts, and it can actually handle appliances up to 3400 watts for a short period of time. Lastly, the Delta Pro has a 3600 watt inverter. With X-Boost on, it can actually handle devices up to 4500 watts. I mean, that is sick. Now, let me also talk a little bit about surge for a second for those of you that don't understand surge. So I have a full-size refrigerator, and when it first turns on, it actually surges to about 170 watts. It's actually one of the newer refrigerators, so it really does a good job when it comes to, energy usage. Now, when I'm running the refrigerator, it actually uses around 40, 45 watts, sometimes 50. But it will surge to that 170. And so what's important with that is if you are buying one of these power stations to actually, be able to handle your appliance that you want to plug in or your device, find out if it actually has a surge, because if it does, then the unit won't work if it can't handle the surge. Something good to know. Hey guys, if you're really enjoying this video, take a moment, give us a thumbs up. Brooklyn and I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Now we're going to talk about battery capacity. And these units have everything in them, right? These are called solar generators because you can recharge them with solar. I use battery power station because these things have everything that you need inside of them for the most part. So let's talk about battery capacity for a minute. And battery capacity really just means how big is the battery and how long will it last. Now, how long will it last is tricky, right? Because you use energy different from what I do, right? Your refrigerator or what your expectations are. But I'm going to go over watt hours and then I'm going to explain watt hours. So the Delta Mini has an 882 watt hour battery. Now, when you go to the Delta 1300, you've got a 1260 watt hour battery. So you can see there that you've got a good jump more. When you go to the Delta Max, this is the 2000, it's got 2016 watt hours. And then when you go to the big boy, the Delta Pro, you've got 3600 watt hours. Now, a simple example of a watt hour is, let's say you use an LED light in your house and it uses 10 watts. Well, if you use that bulb for 1 hour, you would use 10 watt hours. I hope that example really helped you understand that, think about how long you could run these, right? So let's go a little further. how long can these machines run the LED light? So the Mini can actually run that one light that uses 10 watts. It can actually run it for 88 hours or 3.6 days. The Delta can run it for 126 hours or 5.2 days. The Delta Max can run it for 210 hours or 8.7 days. And the Delta Pro can run it for 360 hours or 15 days. That is an example to understand watt hours and know the capability and the capacity, I should say, of these batteries. We're going to talk more about the Max and the Pro because they do have additional batteries you can add to make these things run even longer. Here are some videos that we did, and we're going to put some links in the description if you'd like to check them out. We did a super detailed review on the Delta Pro, and we went over all the options as you could see there. On the right side, we went over the Delta Max, and we did a refrigerator test to see how long the Delta Max with a battery lasted with a refrigerator of ours. We did a river comparison video, and what that is they make some smaller units that are more portable, and that might suit your needs. Let's go ahead and pull up a slide and talk about expandability with these power stations. Let's go ahead and start from the left side with the Delta Mini. Now, as you can see, the Delta Mini doesn't have any expansion capabilities. The Delta 1300 or 1000, same thing. But when you get to the Delta Max and the Delta Pro, they both do. Now, let me bring up another slide and go over expansion with the Delta Max. Now, this one is for the Delta Max. The Delta Max with 2 batteries can expand to 6,048 watt hours or 6 kilowatt hours. Let's cover a few expansion scenarios with the Delta Pro. So the Delta Pro, in this scenario, you would add 2 batteries to it using the 2 battery ports in the back. You would get 10,800 watt hours or 10.8 kilowatt hours. Scenario number 2 for the Delta Pro. Now in this case, you'd be using an accessory called the double voltage hub. Now that is mainly used to convert 2 Delta Pros and combine them to come up with 240 volts of power and 7,200 watts. Is that amazing or what? And on each Delta Pro, you can actually have up to 2 batteries. So you could have 4 batteries and 2 Delta Pros connected. And, you could use this for dryers, you could use this for heavy-duty heaters, amongst other things. So, pretty cool. Scenario number 3, in our last scenario, would be using the smart home panel. Now, this is a home power backup solution, okay? And you can connect 2 Delta Pros to the smart home panel, and you can have 2 batteries on each of the Delta Pros, or you can have smart generators as well. And in this scenario, if you had 2 batteries on each of the Delta Pros, you could have 21,600 watt hours or 21.6 kilowatts. Now, if you do connect 2 smart generators and 2 batteries, you can get up to 25,000 watt hours or 25 kilowatt hours. That is something else. All right, so let's talk about which of these power stations have an app available so you can do firmware updates to fix issues and add improvements. Control your EcoFlow via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi depending on the unit. And check the status and see the input and output wattage of what's being used and also your battery percentages. So the Mini does have an app available and it's controlled via Wi-Fi. The Delta 1300 and the 1000 don't have any app available. The Delta Max 2000 and 1600 both have an app available that is controlled via Wi-Fi. The Delta Pro has an app available and it actually has Wi-Fi or Bluetooth control, which is really nice. So definitely something I recommend. Let's take some time and go over solar and solar recharging. Now, the question is, if you could connect solar panels and get free power from the sun, why would you connect your power station to your outlet and pay for it? Just something to think about. So let's go ahead and go over solar with these power stations. So I'm going to go over wattage real quick. So the Delta Mini can handle up to 300 watts of solar input. The Delta 1300, 400. The Delta Max 2000, 800. And the Delta Pro can handle up to 1600 watts of solar input. Now, the scenario I'm about to talk about is connecting your panels. Now, you can connect them in series or you can connect them in parallel. Now, when you connect your panels in series, you really need to make sure that you stay within the voltage requirement. Now, when you connect them in parallel, you have to really be more concerned about your amps. Now, I'm not going to talk about amps today, but the Delta Mini, if I had a 21 volt panel, I could connect 3 of them to the Delta Mini, which would be 63 volts. And the Delta Mini can handle up to 75 volts. The Delta 1300, same thing. I can connect up to 3 21 volt panels equaling 63 volts and stay in range of the maximum of 65 volts because it's a little older. The Delta Max, I can connect 4 21 volt panels and stay in range of that 100 volt maximum. And the Delta Pro actually has a 150 volt maximum. I can connect 7 panels equaling 147 volts. Again, connecting these all in series. So I wanted to provide a simple example for you on how to connect panels in series, and they really aren't complicated. So connecting panels in series is pretty simple. Each panel has 2 cables, and you can't make a mistake. What you need to do is just connect one panel to the other using one wire, and then the other wires from each of the panels are going to connect to the solar cable that would then plug into the Delta power station. And that's it. And now you're connected in series. Let's take some time and just talk about weight with the power stations and weight with the batteries. So the Mini is 23.6 pounds. The Delta 1300 is 30.9 pounds. The Delta Max is 48 pounds, and the additional battery, if you get it, is 39 pounds. The Delta Pro is 99 pounds, and yes, it is heavy. Use your knees. I promise you, you got to be careful. And the optional smart battery for the Delta Pro is 84 pounds. All right, so here's another example, and I hope it helps you. So in a previous video, we tested a full-size Samsung refrigerator. And the image on the left side is what the video looked like, okay? So if you want to see that video, the link will be in the description. But our result, connecting the Delta Max and one battery with no solar, we got 75.5 hours of power for our refrigerator. So that's pretty cool. Now, what would the result be with the other power stations? What would an estimate result be? So the Mini would probably power the same refrigerator for 18 hours. The Delta 1300, 27 hours. And the Delta Pro, again, on its own with no extra battery, 68 hours. Now, the refrigerator used about 40 to 45 watts average, and it did surge anywhere from 140 to 170 watts. So that's a really good example to talk about. Here are some additional helpful examples, and be aware these are estimates. So let's start off with a laptop that's about 80 watts. The Mini can run it for 11 hours. the Delta 1300, 15.75 hours, the Delta Max, 25 hours, and the Delta Pro, 45 hours. Now, what about a 140 watt 50-inch TV? The Mini, 6 hours, the Delta, 9 hours, the Delta Max, 14.5 hours, and the Delta Pro, 25.5 hours. Now, what about a 10,000 BTU air conditioner that takes up about 757 watts? Well, the Mini can run it for about an hour, maybe 1.1 hours. The Delta 1300, 1.7 hours. The Delta Max, 2.6 hours. And the Delta Pro, 4.75 hours. And lastly, a space heater, a 1500 watt space heater. The Mini, a half hour. The Delta 1300, 3/4 of an hour. The Delta Max, 1.3. And the Delta Pro, 2.6 hours. Now we're going to take a close look at all of these units, and we're going to start off with the Delta Mini. So we want to take a look at the ports and things like that. So this is the Delta Mini. It's got a 100 watt Type-C, USB Type-C. It's got two 12 watt USB Type-A's, and then it's got one 18 watt quick charge USB Type-A. Now let's go ahead and turn the unit around. And you'll see here in the back that we've got a panel. And when we open this panel up, we've got our XT60. That's for our solar charging cable and our DC charging cable. We've got an overload protection. Here's where we plug in the AC cord. And this is magic. So it's a really nice feature. What this does is it allows you to go fast charge by pushing it up. Or if you push it down and go in the app, you can actually adjust the settings to charge this as slow as 200 watts or as high as 900 watt AC input. Pretty nice. Now, as we continue, we've got 5 1400 watt AC outlets, and there's your power button. We've got 2 DC barrel plugs, which I'll show you an accessory in a little while when I go over the Delta, that you can actually convert these to car chargers, which is really nice. And they're not a lot of money. So you do get a car charger as well. And again, here's your power button to turn that on. Before I go on to the Delta 1300, I'm going to bring up a video that I want you to see to show you the feature I was talking about on the Delta Mini, on how you can adjust the speed on how fast you charge the Delta Mini. This gives you the option to go all the way down to 200. So I'll show you the app real quick so you can see it. You can go down to as low as 200 and as high as 1800. So this one will give you full flexibility. All right, when it's on fast, that's it. So let's take a nice look at the Delta Mini 1300. So, you know, a power button's here, and it's on the other unit. In this case, it's black. The other one was orange. So your power button for your unit is here. You have to press and hold it to turn it on, and then you can press and hold it to turn it off. Or if you just press it, it turns your screen on and off. So, you know. And that's the other thing I got to tell you. The screens on these EcoFlow power stations are just wonderful. I mean, you look at your charge, your discharge rate, your battery percentage, your input and your output wattage. I mean, real easy to see, and that percentage is so important. And now let's go over your ports. So USB Type-C, you've got 2 of these, and they're 60 watts. 60 watts each, okay? Now in the Mini, they were 100, right? On the USB Type-A, you've got 2 12 watt, and then you've got 2 fast charge 18 watt in the front. Let's go ahead and turn this to the side, because you know, as this, improved, they continue to evolve it. So in this case, instead of it being in the back of the machine, you've got your XT60, your AC, and your overload protection on the side. As you can see, you've got fans, and that's going to be, on all the units, the top of the unit will actually have fans circulating the air. Now, if we look at the back, we've got 6 1200 watt AC outlets with the power button. You don't have any DC barrel ports, but you do get one car charger, okay? And that is a good look at the Delta 1300. Let's take a look at the Delta Max 2000. Now this is heavy, guys, so bear with me. But as you can see, you still got that phenomenal display. Now, one thing I didn't mention on the Mini is you do get an IoT reset button, because this is how you connect the power station to the app. So you would press that button until it flashes. You've got 2 USB Type-A 12 watt, 2 USB Type-A 18 watt, and 200 watt USB Type-Cs. This is your power button for your USB, and this is your power button for the unit itself. Now, as we turn this to the right, the one thing you'll see that's very different is it does actually have battery ports, and this can connect to batteries. Remember, we talked about that earlier. So you've got your fans up here, battery port 1, battery port 2. Keep in mind, if you're going to want to update your battery, connect it to battery port 1, go in the app, and then it will, it'll show an update, and you can update your Delta Max and the Delta Max Smart Battery using port 1, not port 2. Let's take a look at the back. So, same panel we had with the Delta Mini, right? XT60, fast and slow charge, AC and overload protection. Now you have 6 2400 watt AC outlets with the power switch there. You've got your car charger, power button, and if you want to convert the DC barrel plugs, I'll put this accessory in the description. I love these. I believe they're only sold in a 2-pack, but if you connect this to the barrel plug, you can then convert it to a car charger with a cover. And you can get 2 of those because you've got 2 barrel plugs. All right? So here is the Delta Pro. Now, one thing I want you to see is the Delta Pro versus a Delta Max actually has a much larger display. So there's your Delta Max, there's your Delta Pro. So I like that. It's a much larger display, and you can even get a remote control to have a remote display and control it as well, and we'll cover that in the options coming up. You get 2 USB Type-A 12 watt, 2 USB Type-A 18 watt, your power button for the unit, AC on and off, 4 3600 watt AC outlets, and a 30 amp outlet. Another thing that you get with the Delta Pro is you get a very strong handle and some wheels. And this comes out pretty far. It locks in place. So you can actually take this with you and lift this unit and go where you need to go. So it's really strong, you know. So it's a nice addition to have. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side panel and show you the ports in the side panel. Just give me a second. I've got to move the unit over so that you can get a nice view of the panel. So here's an opening for your Ethernet, all right? But if you open the panel up, you just open that up that way, it pops out. And, let me zoom in, and we'll take a good look at the side panel. So you've got your Anderson up here, which is 12 volt, 30 amp. You've got your DC car charger, 12 volt, 10 amp. You get 2 barrel plugs here, 12 volt, 3 amp. You get your power button for your DC, Ethernet, which is really made for your remote control, so that you can connect the remote control. You got your IoT reset button, so you can connect the app, your pairing button for Bluetooth, and a standby button where you could actually remotely turn the unit on and turn it off. So that's kind of nice. Now you also get an infinity port on the bottom here. Now that is used to connect the double voltage cable. It's used to also connect the EV adapter when you're charging this via EV. You can bring this to an EV charging station and actually charge it with the EV adapter. Now when we look at the back of the unit, you've got, and again I'm going to do my best here to get you the light that you need to see what's going on down here, but you get your XT60 port, again your switch for fast charging or adjustable charging, your AC plug, and your overload protection. You also get 2 ports for your battery, because this can connect to batteries, right? We talked about that earlier. Now, if you're going to update your battery, make sure you connect it to battery port number 1. The other thing you get is you get some really strong wheels, so you can wheel this around. And the other thing they did too is they put some really nice cushions on the handles, because this is heavy and you're going to be using your knees to lift this, but you should probably have someone help you, because again, 100 pounds, you've got to be careful. Let's take a look at some options that are available. So you can see in the bigger picture, the Mini and the Delta 1300 have solar panels available. The Delta Max also has add-on batteries, and the smart generator is another way to charge it. The Delta Pro has solar panels, add-on batteries, the smart generator, double voltage hub, EV charge adapter, smart home panel, and a remote control. Pretty cool. Continuing on with options, as you could see here, every Delta can use any of these solar panels. And you can do 60 watt, 110 watt, 160 watt, 220 watt, and 400 watt options that EcoFlow has. And we'll put links in the description for a lot of this. Now here's another option that'll knock your socks off. I mean, it is so innovative. This is the EcoFlow Solar Tracker. And what this does is it works with the regular solar panels. It also works with EcoFlow solar panels. And when you connect this through the XT60 on the back of your power station, basically there's a tracker on this unit that will actually track the sun and move and follow the sun. So you don't have to go to your backyard or go somewhere and move your panels all day long. And that means that you're going to get more wattage to recharge your power station. Now, it's not available, and I don't know the price at this point, but very cool. So here are the pictures of the smart generator and the battery that are compatible with the Delta Max, okay, as far as options are concerned. And let's go ahead and take a peek at the big screen here and look at all the options available for the Delta Pro. All right. Now here is one of the options called the smart generator. Now this smart generator can also connect to the Delta Max, the Delta Max batteries, as well as the Delta Pro and the Delta Pro batteries. And it is smart because if it senses that the Delta Max or the Delta Pro hits a certain level, it'll automatically turn on and start charging those units. So it connects to this special port in the front. This still has an AC outlet for you. And this can actually supply 1800 watts, I believe 1900 watts surge. It is a gas generator. All the ports are off right now. This is normally stored in the garage. And this adapter comes with the Delta Pro. You put it into one of the battery ports, and it allows you to connect this special cable. As you can see, it's not a standard cable that would connect to a Delta Pro. And when you unplug it, the smart generator will turn off. Again, the display was the only thing on in this scenario. If you want to see our detailed review on the smart generator, click the link in the upper right-hand corner. Another option with the Delta Pro, as I talked about earlier, is the double voltage hub. Now, you basically connect these to the infinity ports on the side of the Delta Pro. you connect two Delta Pros. This will give you 240 volts, and it'll double your wattage to 7,200 watts. If you want to see our review and testing of the double voltage hub, click the link in the upper right-hand corner. Another option we talked about earlier is a smart home panel. And you can connect two Delta Pros, and each Delta Pro can actually have two batteries connected, or a battery and a smart generator, and a battery and a smart generator. I mean, you're talking 25 kilowatts. I mean, that's crazy. And they connect to the infinity port. And there you go. Another way to charge your Delta Pro is with an EV charger. Now this is an EV charging adapter, right? So this plugs into the infinity port down here on the bottom. This plugs right in, and it allows you to connect an EV charger from an EV charging station. Now this is a J1772 adapter. You can get up to 3.4 kilowatts of input via this charger. This sells for, I believe, around $99, and it's just coming out. We'll definitely put some links in the description, but again, real simple. We connect it into here, we lock it into place, and you're rocking and you're rolling with another way to charge. Click the link in the upper right-hand corner if you want to see our review of the EV charging adapter. Now another nice accessory is the remote control. And you can connect this Bluetooth, USB Type-C, or Ethernet. And you can actually control the DC, the AC. You can turn the unit on, turn it off. And if you have an RV or a van, or you have this power station somewhere where you can't reach it at the moment, this becomes a pretty cool option to have. Click the link in the upper right-hand corner if you want to see the remote control review. All right, well, thank you so much for watching the video. We really appreciate that. And I really hope you found the information in the video helpful in some way. And if you did, give us a thumbs up. We would really appreciate that. Also, if you're not a subscriber, we really hope you subscribe and become a member of the family and share our video. Thank you so much. Hey guys, take a moment and give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. As you can see, Brooklyn, she's waving her tail for you. Take a moment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell and you'll get notified of new videos we come out with. Also, follow us and contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.